2025 and 2026 will be, for many people, the two best years for movie releases in history. Do you have any idea how many incredible movies are set to come out from the last quarter of 2025 through the end of 2026? If you think Disney only makes princess movies or Marvel superhero flicks, you couldn't be more wrong. And Tron, Ares is proof that Mickey's box has way more inside than you could ever imagine. Scheduled for early October 2025, this film is actually the third in a franchise that mixes gaming elements with real-world action. The official trailer shows electrifying visuals, light cycles crashing into police cars, recognizers flying over cities, and the grid spilling into the streets, creating a powerful blend between digital aesthetics and the real world. The trilogy began with Tron in 1982, and after nearly 3 decades came Tron Legacy in 2010, which revived the saga with a far more futuristic look. And in this third movie, we'll see Ares, an ultra-advanced program played by Jared Leto, crossing into the real world on a dangerous mission that marks humanity's very first contact with artificial intelligence beings. With its release set for October 2025, Tron Ares promises to be epic for sci-fi fans and a turning point in how we view the relationship between humans and AI. Get ready to have your mind blown as we dive into all the biggest movies that are coming soon, and some you didn't even know about. Back to Disney's classic animated films, we can't skip the one that's probably going to be the most watched animated feature in the West in 2025, Zootopia 2. Judy and Nick are back once again, this time as official police partners investigating a mystery surrounding the first ever reptile shown in this mammal-dominated world. That reptile is Gary, who for some reason seems tied to a crime, but at the same time everything hints that he's innocent and is being framed by the mysterious hooded villain teased in the first trailer. It'll be up to Nick and Judy to save Gary's skin, or better said, his scales, from this huge conspiracy, which might even have Bellwether, the villain from the first movie, pulling the strings behind the scenes. I don't know about you, but I'm beyond excited to see this one. Who knows, maybe we'll finally see the couple forming once and for all. If there's one video game franchise that definitely scarred some kids for life, it's Mortal Kombat. And to prove the game still has massive influence, Mortal Kombat 2 is hitting theaters in October 2025. With Johnny Cage leading the group of humans fighting in a brutal tournament to keep Earth from being conquered, the movie promises to bring in some of the most iconic characters from the games, like Shao Kahn, Raiden, Sonya Blade, and of course Scorpion and the new Sub-Zero, along with many more. If you've got a weak stomach or aren't into fights to the death, this one might not be for you. But if you love combat and jaw-dropping visual effects, all signs point to Mortal Kombat 2 being absolutely epic. Also in 2025, coming in November, we'll have one of the most magical sequels in cinema, Wicked Part 2. The first film was an incredible reimagining of the Wizard of Oz tale, but set before Dorothy ever made it to that wonderful world. In the musical, we learned about the past of Elphaba, the future Wicked Witch of the West, and Galinda, the Good Witch of the South, when they were classmates and, believe it or not, friends. But by the end, the two part ways as Elphaba escapes from Oz. Part 2 will most likely show the Wicked Witch's return and how she and Galinda, her former friend, will probably have to face off. For those who love horror games packed with jump scares, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie released in 2023 was nothing short of a landmark, but the story of Mike and Abby is far from over. In December 2025, we're getting a sequel worthy of this creepy tale of animatronics haunted by children who fell victim to the psychopath William Afton. New animatronics like Toy Freddy and Marionette, among others, are set to make Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and its surroundings even more terrifying and sinister. And don't forget, a third movie has already been confirmed, though it doesn't have a release date yet. If you've watched the first 2 Avatar movies, you already know what the phrase cinematic masterpiece really means. And it's with that same level of excitement that we're looking forward to December 2025, when Avatar Fire and Ashes, the third film, is set to continue this legacy of adventure and sci-fi, where once again we'll see Jake, Neytiri, and their family fighting against the invaders who want to exploit Pandora's natural resources at any cost. After adventures that have already taken us to the skies and the oceans, the third movie promises something brand new. Chaos in the middle of lava and fire, where we'll meet the Fire Na'vi tribes heading into battle as well, but not necessarily on the hero's side. If you were born in the 1990s, or if your parents were, you've probably heard of Anaconda, a movie that brought to life the terror lurking in the wild waters of the largest river on Earth, deep inside the biggest rainforest in the world, the Amazon. And in December 2025, we'll be getting the remake of this film that became a landmark for horror and suspense fans, especially those involving nature and the monsters that dwell there, like the anaconda itself, a creature with no predators, whose only instinct is to devour anything and everything in its path. Not long ago, Warner announced that in February 2026, they'll be releasing the next big Dr. Seuss animated feature from the same creator of the Lorax. We're talking about the legendary Cat in the Hat, an animation about a cat who shows up at the house of 2 siblings who just moved in and are bored out of their minds. There was already a live-action movie which, honestly, was a bit creepy, along with several animated series released over the last 50 years. But this animated version looks absolutely stunning and seems set to be one of the major hits of 2026. promising to rival Disney, DreamWorks, Illumination, and now even Sony. Before we keep going with the best upcoming movies, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss our next videos. If you love animated movies as much as we do, you probably owe a lot of that to the release of Toy Story way back in 1995, 30 years ago, when many of us weren't even born yet. And since the tradition of Woody, Buzz, and the gang can't stop, Pixar has already scheduled June 2026 for us to have the honor, or maybe even the heartbreak, of watching the 5th installment of what I consider to be the greatest animated movie franchise in history. All we can do is hope for yet another unforgettable film, and who knows, maybe even Andy's son stepping in to represent the new generation. That would be amazing. Now this one is for superhero fans. If you enjoyed the new Superman movie that came out in August 2025, you're definitely going to be hyped for June 2026. That's when we'll finally get the solo movie of Clark Kent's cousin. And the best part, at least for me, is that Krypto is coming back too. Man, I absolutely loved that dog. All of this will definitely come with tons of action and epic battles, and maybe, even better, the appearance of Lobo in the brand new DC Cinematic Universe. Now that would be a dream come true. Never asked you for anything, James Gunn? Ever since 2010, when Despicable Me first came out, it's hard to even imagine a world without the Minions, right? That's exactly why in July 2026, we're getting nothing less than the third movie featuring those little yellow troublemakers. For now, the plot hasn't been revealed, but we're all hoping it has something to do with Gru's teenage years, maybe even set in the villain's school where he first met Maxime Lamau. And of course, with our favorite ex-villain being mentored by the one and only Knuckles. Ever since Moana 2 was released at the end of 2024, fans of the Princess of Motunui have been eagerly waiting for July 2026, which is when the live-action version of this incredible Disney franchise is set to premiere. The best part of all this is definitely going to be watching The Rock's version of Maui, and seeing how he helps Moana face Te Fiti this time. I think this movie is going to be a visual spectacle full of jaw-dropping special effects. But as we all know, Disney isn't just about princesses. That's exactly why in December 2026, we'll finally get the long-awaited release of Avengers 5 Doomsday. And of course, the most anticipated part of this movie is the return of Robert Downey Jr. to the MCU, this time as the villain Victor Von Doom. The story promises to be packed with twists and jaw-dropping fight scenes. For now, we're just watching with crossed fingers, hoping this one turns out to be the greatest movie of all time. Still talking about Disney, we know the company has been buying out its competitors, and that includes Blue Sky Studios, the creators of Ice Age. That's why in December 2026, the 6th movie of the franchise featuring our three friends Manny, Sid, and Diego is scheduled to hit theaters. We just hope Disney doesn't mess up one of the most beloved animated movie series of all time, cherished by so many fans, including us. For many, the Sony era has been one of the most memorable for animation fans, and honestly, the highlight of this rise against giants like Disney and DreamWorks was no doubt the first two Spider-Man films featuring Miles Morales. To wrap up this trilogy with a bang, in June 2027, we'll finally get the third movie, Beyond the Spider-Verse, where Miles remains stuck in a parallel universe, fighting to regain control of his own reality and save his family, all while battling not just interdimensional enemies, but also his own inner struggles that promise intense emotions and heavy vibes, probably without the help of his best friend Gwen. Stay strong, Miles, we're with you. Scheduled for June 2027, Shrek 5 is proof that some franchises are simply immortal, at least while major studios like Pixar and DreamWorks are struggling to come up with fresh ideas. For the very first time, a movie from the world's most beloved green ogre won't be starring Shrek and Fiona as the main couple, but rather their daughter Felicia, who will be voiced by Hollywood's darling Zendaya. The first teaser trailer stirred up mixed emotions. Some fans were thrilled, while others were worried, especially since, let's just say, even uglier than usual. Now all we can do is wait a little longer to see if this movie will surprise fans or let them down. That's the end of our list, but don't head out just yet. We've got 2 more videos lined up right here for you to keep having fun. Pick one and let's jump into the next.